Are you tired of constantly hustling harder, hoping income alone will close the wealth gap, but every year the gap widens? Instead of working harder in the same broken system, learn the strategies the wealthy use: tax avoidance, structured reinvestment, and credit leverage, and apply them to your business starting now. Welcome to another Made for You video from Project 1920 called the 120-hour free Black business course for wealth building. As always, hit the notification button for upcoming videos and comment to request how we can improve the videos for you. If you enjoyed watching to the end, hit the like button and subscribe. Let's begin. The wealth gap in America isn't accidental, it's systemic. But for the first time, there's a free 120-hour course designed specifically for you as a Black entrepreneur to reverse it. This isn't motivation, it's education. 13 subjects grounded in history and applied to the future to turn your Black-owned business into a wealth-building engine. Here's exactly what you'll learn and why it matters now more than ever. The first subject in this 120-hour course is the business plan, not by accident, but by design. The absence of a clear, written business plan is one of the leading reasons small businesses, especially Black-owned startups, fail within the first 5 years. When you examine the wealth gap, you find not only disparities in capital access, but also disparities in planning, in having a roadmap that can withstand economic storms and investor scrutiny alike. This module spans 20 hours of instruction, divided into structured lessons and practical assignments. You will begin with the fundamentals. What is a business plan, and why does it matter? From there, you move into the anatomy of a plan: executive summaries, market analysis, competitive positioning, and financial forecasting. Each concept is not merely defined, but applied, anchored in real-world examples drawn from both historic and modern Black entrepreneurship. To ensure depth of learning, this module includes multiple-choice assessments to check comprehension of key principles. Also are short essays that encourage reflection on personal business goals, and curated readings from respected sources in economics and Black business history. The essays are intentionally challenging, requiring you to bridge the gap between theory and your own vision for enterprise. Writing a business plan is not a ceremonial step. It is the first act of stewardship over your idea. In this course, you will craft plans that can do more than satisfy lenders or investors, plans that serve as living documents for your future. You place the business plan first because it sets the stage for every subject that follows. Whether you are learning about marketing, financial management, or operations later in this course, those insights are meaningless without a framework to house them. The plan is the foundation. By the end of this module, you will not only emerge with theoretical knowledge, but with the first draft of your own business plan, a tangible artifact of your commitment to closing the wealth gap through entrepreneurship. The second subject in this course is legal structure and compliance, a 20-hour module that guides you through the formalization of the business from a legal, structural, and regulatory perspective. This is one of the most overlooked yet critical elements in the wealth-building journey for you as a Black entrepreneur. Your community has a rich history of enterprise: barbershops, bookstores, caterers, construction firms. But too often, those businesses are not legally structured in ways that protect the owner, limit liability, or position the company for institutional funding. Without the right legal framework, even the most promising business idea can become a personal financial liability or a legal vulnerability. In this module, you will begin by understanding the core legal entities: sole proprietorships, partnerships, LLCs, S-corps, and C-corps, along with the legal advantages and tax implications of each. You will analyze real-life case studies where business structure either protected or destroyed personal wealth. The coursework includes federal, state, and local registration requirements, such as obtaining EINs, filing with the Secretary of State, registering a DBA, and understanding industry-specific licensing and permits. You will also explore minority-owned business certifications and the compliance standards needed to access grant opportunities. You will be required to complete a quiz covering these foundational topics and write a short essay about this question. How will my chosen legal structure impact my long-term wealth, liability exposure, and ability to grow? To reinforce the academic rigor of this module, you will be directed to read selected sections of IRS Publication 583, excerpts from the Small Business Administration Legal Guide, and community-sourced publications on navigating compliance in underserved markets. You'll also examine historical context. Throughout American history, legal structure has been a barrier as much as a bridge. Black business owners were frequently denied incorporation, licenses, or insurance, leaving them vulnerable to asset seizure, tax violations, and business loss, even when those businesses were profitable. This module aims to change that narrative by equipping you with legal foresight. But beyond compliance, this subject encourages strategic formation. Structuring your business is not just about obeying the law. It's about choosing a container strong enough to hold your vision. It's about protection, scalability, and legitimacy. By the end of this 20-hour module, you will have either selected or refined the optimal legal structure for your business and will be prepared to file any necessary paperwork with state or federal agencies. You will understand how to set up your entity and how to maintain good standing, from annual reports to tax deadlines or regulatory audits. Legal structure and compliance serve as the bones of a business. Once they are aligned, the next subjects can flesh out the full body of operations, starting with business credit and capital access. The third subject of this course is business credit and capital access, a 20-hour exploration of how to build, leverage, and sustain creditworthiness as the foundation for scalable growth. For too long, Black entrepreneurs have been forced to rely on personal credit, payday loans, or informal lending circles to launch and sustain their ventures. This lack of separation between personal and business finances perpetuates the cycle of limited growth and heightened personal risk. The data is stark. While your Black-owned business is more likely to be started with personal savings or family contributions, you are significantly less likely to secure bank loans, venture capital, or lines of credit. This module addresses that disparity directly. We begin by defining business credit, what it is, how it differs from personal credit, and why it matters in building generational wealth. You will learn the mechanics of establishing credit profiles with agencies like Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business, including the importance of obtaining a DUNS number and vendor accounts. From there, you examine the credit building process step by step, registering with appropriate agencies, opening trade lines with vendors and suppliers, managing payment histories to achieve favorable Paydex scores, strategically using secured cards and small lines of credit to scale responsibly. Assignments include a multiple-choice assessment on the fundamentals of business credit and an applied exercise where you draft a 90-day action plan to begin building or improving your company's credit profile. We also integrate critical readings, including excerpts from the Federal Reserve's Small Business Credit Survey and case studies highlighting how undercapitalization affects minority-owned enterprises. These readings are paired with reflective essay prompts. How does access to credit intersect with closing the wealth gap? And what specific barriers must you plan to overcome in your industry? Capital access is also addressed holistically. Beyond credit, we explore alternative funding strategies, community development financial institutions, CDFIs, crowdfunding platforms, grants, and microloans designed for underserved entrepreneurs. You'll analyze the benefits and risks of learning how to layer multiple funding sources into a coherent capital strategy. Historically, barriers to credit have been structural. From redlining to discriminatory underwriting, Black business owners were often excluded from mainstream financial systems. This course doesn't shy away from that history, but it uses it as fuel, empowering you to master tools that once excluded you. By the end of this 20-hour module, you'll have a clear plan to separate personal and business finances, establish a credit profile, and pursue funding sources aligned with your growth goals. The fourth subject in this course is maximizing tax avoidance, a 20-hour deep dive into how you can legally minimize tax liabilities and retain more capital for reinvestment and generational wealth building. Tax avoidance is often misunderstood in public discourse. The wealthy are vilified for not paying taxes, while the poor and middle class are rarely taught how the tax code actually works. The truth is simple. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is not. Wealthy individuals and corporations rely on structured entities, deductions, and credits built into the law itself. This module equips you with the same knowledge, removing the mystique around how the rich preserve wealth. We begin by reframing the purpose of taxes, understanding federal, state, and local obligations, and how the Internal Revenue Code incentivizes specific behaviors, like investing in real estate, hiring employees, or starting retirement plans. You'll learn why the tax code is not merely a burden, but a blueprint for building businesses that align with government priorities. Core topics include entity-level taxation, how LLCs, S-corps, and C-corps are taxed differently, deductions versus credits, maximizing write-offs for expenses like home offices, vehicles, and professional development, timing strategies, shifting income and expenses to reduce current year liability, deferred taxation vehicles, leveraging retirement plans and reinvestment incentives, audit readiness, maintaining documents. Assignments include a multiple-choice exam on tax principles and an essay prompt. Which tax strategies best align with your business structure, and how will they accelerate your wealth-building timeline? You'll also be directed to curated readings from IRS publications 535 and 463, paired with contemporary analyses on how high net worth individuals legally reduce taxable income. Historical context is essential here. Black-owned businesses have long faced inequities in taxation, from discriminatory assessments on property to lack of access to tax-advantaged retirement plans. By mastering avoidance strategies, you can reclaim resources that have historically been siphoned away. The outcome of this module is practical. You'll finish with a personalized tax avoidance checklist. The fifth subject in this course is monthly income allocation, a 20-hour study of how to intentionally distribute profits so your business doesn't just survive, but grows and generates personal wealth for decades to come. This is where we introduce the 70-30-10 rule, a cornerstone principle of Project 1920. It's simple in concept, but transformative in application. 70% of income goes to investing, accumulation of appreciating assets. 30% of income is directed into business expenses, synonyms with what you owe in taxes. 10% of income is allocated to community impact, charitable giving. The brilliance of this model is its discipline. Most entrepreneurs either reinvest everything and neglect personal wealth, or they extract too much too soon and starve the business of growth. This balanced approach ensures both sustainability and legacy. We start by teaching you how to analyze monthly revenue, separate personal and business finances, and automate allocations through separate accounts. Practical exercises will have you draft a monthly allocation spreadsheet for your projected income, adjusting for seasonality and reinvestment cycles. Assignments include a multiple-choice exam covering the mechanics of income allocation and a reflective essay prompt. How would consistently applying the 70-30-10 rule transform your business and personal wealth over the next 5 years? Readings will include excerpts from modern financial planning texts, case studies of successful Black-owned enterprises, and historical examples of cooperative economics in Black communities, from mutual aid societies to Black Wall Street. We also explore the psychological shift required. Allocating income this way forces you to view profits not as immediate spending power, but as fuel for long-term goals. It creates a culture of delayed gratification and strategic reinvestment, habits that mirror the practices of wealthier demographics who have used similar models for generations. The impact on the wealth gap is profound. Imagine thousands of Black-owned businesses applying this discipline simultaneously, not just growing individually, but circulating capital within the community, funding new ventures, and building intergenerational assets. There are several multiple-choice assessments taken from preferred readings of contemporary thinkers like Charles Blow, Eddie Glaude, and Sherilyn Iffel. By the end of this module, you will have a functional allocation plan tailored to your unique business model. You will leave with a clear system for balancing reinvestment, personal security, and community responsibility, a structure you can scale for life. This 4-hour module introduces the relationship between supply and demand of currency through the lens of cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, and its growing role in wealth protection. Unlike government-issued dollars, Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. This scarcity makes it fundamentally different from fiat currency, which can be printed in unlimited amounts. As central banks increase the money supply, inflation rises and each dollar buys less. Bitcoin, when used properly, gains value in these conditions, acting as a hedge against inflation. You will learn how cryptocurrency transactions work, from digital wallets to payment gateways, and how some Black-owned businesses are already accepting Bitcoin to bypass traditional banking barriers. You will explore both the opportunities and risks, volatility, regulation, and security measures required to safeguard digital assets. Assignments include a brief quiz on Bitcoin fundamentals and a reflection prompt. Would accepting cryptocurrency strengthen or weaken my business model over the next decade? By the end of this module, you will understand how cryptocurrency fits into broader supply and demand dynamics, and why strategic adoption can serve as both a payment solution and a store of value in uncertain economic times. This module focuses on state and private sector grants, funding sources often overlooked by small business owners, yet crucial for building capital without debt. Unlike federal grants or contracts, state and private opportunities are more localized and accessible, especially for startups and minority-owned enterprises. State economic development offices often provide grants for job creation, community impact, or innovation within specific industries. Private corporations, from banks to major retailers, fund grant programs to support diversity, supply chain growth, and social responsibility goals. You will learn how to identify these programs, evaluate eligibility, and craft competitive applications. Key topics include aligning your mission with the grantor's priorities, preparing financial documents, and building measurable impact statements. Assessment includes a short quiz on grant terminology, multiple choice questions, and a reflective prompt. Which state or private grant best aligns with your business model, and what impact could it create in your community? By the end of this 4-hour module, you will draft a preliminary list of potential grants and begin outlining a narrative pitch to pursue them. This module examines the role of Black-owned banks in strengthening community wealth and why directing Black business revenues into these institutions is a strategy for collective economic power. Black banks were born out of necessity, created to serve communities denied access to mainstream financial systems. Today, their impact extends beyond checking accounts. They reinvest deposits into local mortgages, small business loans, and community development projects. When Black businesses bank Black, dollars circulate longer within the community, funding schools, housing, and infrastructure, rather than leaving the neighborhoods that generate them. You will explore the history and modern challenges of Black banks, review data on their economic impact, and identify ways you can partner with them, from opening accounts to securing lines of credit. Assessment includes a quiz on the benefits and limitations of Black banking and multiple-choice questions from selected readings, plus a reflection prompt. How would shifting your business banking to a Black-owned institution impact your long-term wealth and your community? By the end of this 2-hour module, you will understand that banking Black is more than symbolic. It is a calculated move toward building community infrastructure and closing the wealth gap. This module explores the economic power of intentionally supporting Black-owned businesses and how circulating dollars within the community creates lasting infrastructure. Historically, Black dollars left the community within hours compared to weeks in other demographics. This leakage starved Black neighborhoods of the capital needed for growth. By contrast, Black Wall Street and similar ecosystems thrived because dollars circulated multiple times before exiting. You will analyze modern Buy Black movements, assess your impact on employment and wealth creation, then learn how your own business can both benefit from and contribute to this cycle. We highlight practical steps, sourcing from Black suppliers, collaborating with local entrepreneurs, and participating in Black-owned marketplaces and directories. Assessment includes a quiz on the economic impact of dollar circulation, multiple-choice questions from preferred writings, and a reflection prompt. What partnerships or purchases could you shift toward Black-owned businesses without compromising quality or profitability? By the end of this 2-hour module, you will see that buying Black is not just solidarity. It is strategy, building a self-sustaining economy that multiplies wealth across generations. This 4-hour module highlights how STEM schools and historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, prepare the next generation to manage and grow wealth created by today's entrepreneurs. Building businesses that generate wealth is only half the mission. Sustaining it requires financial literacy, technological skills, and leadership pipelines for those who inherit it. STEM programs foster innovation and problem-solving critical for industries like tech, healthcare, and renewable energy. HBCUs provide culturally grounded business education and produce a significant share of Black professionals in law, medicine, and engineering. You will explore partnerships between small businesses and these institutions, offering internships, scholarships, and mentorships to create pathways for youth. You'll examine how these collaborations strengthen community wealth by preparing successors to lead enterprises with vision and discipline. Assessment includes a short quiz on the impact of STEM and HBCUs on generational wealth, multiple-choice questions, preferred writings, and reflection prompt. What role could my business play in preparing the next generation for leadership? By the end of this 2-hour module, you will understand that legacy is not just about money. It's about equipping heirs to steward and multiply that wealth responsibly. This 2-hour examines two contrasting economic models, capitalism and socialism, and how their principles influence debates around free enterprise and reparations in Black America. Capitalism rewards innovation and risk-taking, offering freedom to create wealth, but often leaving systemic inequities unaddressed. Socialism prioritizes collective welfare and redistribution, which aligns with calls for reparations, but can limit individual wealth-building incentives. As a Black entrepreneur, you navigate this tension, building business in a capitalist economy while advocating for structural remedies to centuries of exclusion. You will explore historical moments where these models intersected with Black economics, from Reconstruction-era land promises to modern reparations proposals, and how free market enterprise has both empowered and constrained Black wealth creation. Assessment includes a quiz on the core principles of capitalism and socialism, multiple choice questions from selected writings, plus a reflection prompt. How can Black-owned businesses thrive within capitalism while supporting broader reparative justice goals? By the end of this module, you will see that these systems are not mutually exclusive. Understanding both enables you to leverage market freedoms while demanding equitable policies. This module explores the power of community giving, not just as charity, but as a strategic investment in building lasting infrastructure. Generational wealth is not sustainable if it benefits only individuals. Black prosperity must circulate back into the neighborhoods that nurtured it. This includes reinvesting profits, mentoring youth, and sharing knowledge that demystifies entrepreneurship. Community giving transforms isolated success stories into collective economic movements. You will analyze models of effective giving, from funding local schools to supporting Black-owned startups, and learn how to balance personal growth with community responsibility. We highlight cooperative economics, mutual aid traditions, and modern giving strategies that multiply impact rather than create dependency. Assessment includes a quiz on the principles of community wealth building, multiple choice questions from selected writings, and a reflection prompt. How can my business contribute to community infrastructure without compromising growth? By the end of this 2-hour module, you will see giving as part of the wealth cycle, a feedback loop where investment in others strengthens the environment in which your own business operates. This final 2-hour module examines superior business enterprises, scalable models like franchises and multi-level marketing, MLM, and how disciplined strategies can transform them from risky ventures into sustainable wealth-building platforms. Franchises offer proven systems, brand recognition, and operational support, reducing startup risk. MLMs, though controversial, leverage personal networks and recurring sales for rapid growth. Both models have produced success stories and failures, often determined by the level of planning and execution behind them. Here, we apply the course's first 5 modules: business plans, legal structure, credit, tax avoidance, and income allocation to these enterprises. When structured correctly, MLM participants can treat their efforts as true businesses, separating personal and business finances, reinvesting profits, and scaling responsibly rather than chasing hype. You will compare case studies of Black-owned franchises and MLM success stories, identifying what worked and what didn't. Assignments include a quiz on scalable business principles, multiple choice questions, and a reflection prompt. Which model, franchise or MLM, best aligns with my vision? And how can I use superior planning to minimize risk? By the end of this module, you will understand that scale requires systems. You've just seen the blueprint, 120 hours designed to close 30. But a blueprint only matters if you build from it. The next step is simple. Download the free ebook that walks you through these principles. Enroll in the full upcoming course and start applying what you've learned to your business. Share this video with someone you know who needs this knowledge. Subscribe to our channel for more content. Donate to Project 1920 to help completion of the free 120-hour course design on givebutter.com or gofundme.com. Thanks.